Okay, I'm live. Let me just set up myself on Instagram here. Okay, I am live on Instagram also. Fantastic. All right, this is Allison Bonella, your professional life strategist at Allison B Coaching, and I'm going to talk today a little bit about burnout and stress. Why is this significant? Why did I want to talk about that today? Well, today is the last day of a summer book club I have had with a group of women. We have a Christian women's online book club, and we did a book called Having a Mary Heart in a Martha World. And that's referencing Mary and Martha in the Bible. And we talked a lot about how being more Martha-like, which is the busy way that we do things, tends to be a struggle for many of us to sit back and be more Mary-like, where we just sit at Jesus's feet and we appreciate the time that we spend with him. So it's a struggle for many women. I was not alone in that. Some women are blessed to be more Mary-like in their characteristic, where they're able to just sit back and enjoy Jesus's presence. But for some of us, we really have to work at it a lot because we're constantly busy and we're thinking about all the things that we have to do and accomplish. Well, for those same women, sometimes also being able to just manage things in a way that we don't burn ourselves out can be a struggle. So let's talk a little bit about burnout and what the definition is. Many times people use burnout and stress interchangeably, but really burnout is caused by stress. It's not all stress moves to burnout. Let me give you a definition of burnout. Burnout is a state of emotional, physical, and mental exhaustion caused by excessive and prolonged stress. It occurs when you feel overwhelmed and emotionally drained, and you feel unable to meet constant demands. Not just a one-time demand, but it's constant, it's chronic. And that, I think, is the thing that most distinguishes regular stress from burnout. It's also characterized by exhaustion, cynicism, kind of a negativity, and feelings of reduced professional ability. Usually when you get to the place where you're feeling burnout, you're usually feeling that you lack the ability to make changes in your life. You just don't feel like there's anything that you could do in a productive way that would yield a positive income to whatever's going on. So it really doesn't matter what you do, nothing good's going to come out of it. That's that negativity, that cynicism, and that just a feeling of not having any authority to make anything positive happen in that situation. And that's usually burnout. Now, I have happened to run across people in my professional life who have viewed burnout as almost like a badge of honor. They wear it as a badge of honor. And let me give you an example. There are people who use burnout or stating that they're burnt out as a way of saying they are highly productive. It is a way of telling people that they're in demand and there's so much expertise that they have. They see it as a sign of success. I'm a social worker by training and a psychotherapist, licensed psychotherapist by profession, and now coaching women. And there are times I will meet professional people who will, come in there, oh my gosh, I have so much going on, so many people are wanting to do, and this is why I'm burnt out. And for them, as they express the burnout, I could almost sense this pride in the fact that they are so busy and they are so in demand. But trust me, when we're really talking about true burnout, it doesn't feel like something that anybody wants to have as a badge of honor. So burnout and stress are related. Burnout is the result of chronic stress reactions. Keep that in mind, chronic stress reactions, but not just a busy season, not just a time of heightened activity as would happen in the life of any professional. Dr. Albert Ellis has stated that stress is really a connection between adversity and our beliefs and our emotional response, emotional and behavioral responses to that adversity and the belief. So when we think of stress, not stress, when we think of burnout, think of it as those three components in play over a long period of time, in an unrelenting way. You're constantly having adversity, and your belief system is so negative about it. You're not viewing it as something that's making you stronger, helping you to accomplish something. I remember when I was giving birth to my first child, I had natural labor. And I remember thinking, oh, this is the worst, most horrible pain any woman should ever have. And my sister-in-law came in and said something to me. And she said, just remember, this is pain with a purpose. There's something good that's coming at the end of this. And I remember it changed my whole mindset. The pain was just as excruciating. As a matter of fact, it got even worse. But my attitude was so different because I knew it was pain with a purpose, and my belief about it was different. So I think the same thing happens when we're looking at burnout. Burnout, you don't feel that the pain has a positive purpose. Your belief is so negative about it. So consequently, you have an emotional behavioral response that's negative. Stress and burnout is your body's reaction to unmet needs over a period of time, and expectations that are unmet also. Keep that in mind. I want to give you a little bit of stats about burnout also that I think are pretty significant. 42% of women and 35% of men in business state that they've experienced burnout in the last year. Now, you may wonder why it's almost half of the women and only like a third of the men. Well, the reason for that is that how women are also 26% more likely to give emotional support to others in their workplace. So what that looks like is when you have a workplace and there is somebody struggling in that workplace environment, the people more likely to be concerned about the individual struggling are usually the women. The women are concerned about their situation, but they're concerned about the situations of others around them. Not to say that men lack compassion, but men have the ability to have a focus that keeps them very engaged with what they're in control of. Whereas women tend to have a focus that's a little bit more flexible. And we tend to be looking not only what we can control, but also things that we really can't control, but they're concerning us also. A male colleague may look at someone who's struggling and said, well, I'm sorry for John, he's struggling. I hope things work out for him, but I've got to get back to work. Whereas a woman would say, I'm sorry for John, he's struggling. What can I do to help John? Is there something I could do? Do you need a listening ear? Is there something I could do to help make your life a little bit easier? So women tend to take on not only the burdens we have, but also they tend to take on the burdens of their colleagues and their peers. That's kind of why I think many women struggle a little bit more with, or experience a little bit more burnout on the workplace than men do. Again, not saying that men have lack compassion. I just say in terms of how that compassion is expressed is a little bit different. Because of that, 1 in 3 women state that they are considering downshifting or leaving the workplace because of that burnout. So we will see that in many work environments. Many times women shift a lot more because it's hard to balance that feeling of burnout. And again, remember, along with the feelings of burnout comes this feeling that there's really nothing you could do for it. And that's the belief system that makes them just throw their hands up and say, well, this is never going to change. It's never going to get better. And I'm just getting sicker and worse with the situation. So I'm out of here. All right, so how do we beat burnout? Okay, now that we recognize it, if you're feeling it, if you're experiencing it, if you're feeling that sense of negativity and cynicism, like it's never going to get better, what steps can you take before you say, I'm out of here, I don't want to deal with this anymore? How do you beat burnout? Well, first thing is, it's a no-brainer. You start to relax. You engage in what we call savoring kind of activities. One of the very concrete ways to do that is to learn how to ground yourself, learn how to be present, learn how to, as they say, touch grass, do things, take take yourself away from what's stressing you. Take yourself away from the things that are making you feel very cynical and very negative. Be present in a way that you could find things in your environment, even the environment that's not that great. Try and find a couple of things that you could look at, listen to, hear, see, taste, touch, smell that would bring you joy. It could be as simple as sitting at your desk in the middle of a terrible workday and looking down at a picture of your beautiful family sitting at your desk and just taking a moment to be grateful and to be thankful for them. They're the reasons you're there. They're the reason you're working. You've got plans for them. You could take a few minutes to plan a holiday and think about how wonderful that holiday would be. Take a few minutes, just ground yourself in the present. What are you seeing? What are you hearing? What are you tasting? Put a mint in your mouth and then just enjoy that minty freshness, the sweetness. Find things and intentionally acknowledge your joy in them. Start with the five senses and see how that goes. See if that just gives you some momentary pops of joy. That would be great. Be present. Another way to handle that burnout or feelings of burnout is to just focus on social connections and support. Surround yourself with positive people. If you surround yourself with negative people, it is going to rub off on you. And you're going to you guys are going to just be bouncing back and forth, negative and negative. I remember when I worked with social service many years ago, we had water cooler moments. And you'd go around the water cooler. We were all overwhelmed. We had 40 some cases. We were running back and forth here and there to court, to homes where children were being abused. It was crazy. I was a young social worker, and you'd get around the water cooler and everybody was complaining about how many cases they had, how terrible this situation was, how terrible that judge was. And I remember thinking to myself, oh my goodness, I never walk away from that water cooler feeling better about my job. I never walked away feeling better about anything. I would always walk back to my desk slumped and think to myself, look at all my cases sitting on my desk. How would I ever get through? So I started skipping those water cooler moments. Sometimes somebody would signal me over and I'd be like, no, I've got stuff going on. I'm busy. That was the best thing I did for my mental health. People burned out like crazy, but I was able to just put my head down, got my work done. And at the end of the day, I went home to my lovely family and I was present. So surround yourself with positive people. Connect with your faith family or faith community. And if you don't have one, I strongly suggest you find one. That is a wonderful way of recognizing that you're here for a purpose, and it's a good purpose. Connect to causes that you feel passionate about, things that move you. Again, we're all here for a purpose. We're not here to, be islands. We're here to bring life and bring blessing into certain situations. You may not think that you have much to give, but trust me, you do. You're here for a good purpose. Some additional ways to help yourself to relieve any feelings of burnout is to focus on health and fitness. And I'm sure you've heard this before, so let me say it again. Take care of your health. Eat well. Eat a good diet. Sleep at least 7 hours if you can. If you can't, and you're a 5-hour sleeper, but just be consistent. Get good sleep. Keep yourself hydrated, and get at least 20 minutes of aerobic activities a day. That could be a walk. Now for me, because I'm at my desk a lot, I have a jump rope and I have a hula hoop, and I'll stop during the middle of a meeting, or I'll turn my video off, and while the meeting is going on, I'm hula hooping or I'm jumping and I'm getting my heart rate up. So be creative, but you could get that 20 minutes of aerobic activity in if you are determined and you're intentional about it. And certainly, again, good eating, good sleep, and stay hydrated. So health and fitness is important. And last but not least, I want you to embrace creativity. Creativity is a wonderful way of enjoying life. Art, music, dance, can we live without them? Yes, but why would we want to? They're great things to just remind us that there is beauty in this world. Uh, if you can have an adult coloring book and take little mental breaks and just color by numbers. You don't have to create a great work of art. You just have to take a moment and move your mind off of the things that are stressing you out. Listen to calming music if you take a break. Dance like nobody's watching because nobody is watching. And you could just enjoy stretching and moving to the music. If you enjoy writing, do some journaling, do some blogging. Be silly. Find a hobby. Find something you just do for enjoyment. In summary, focus on what you can control. You need to change your mindset towards burnout. Multitasking, I'm sorry to break it to you, but multitasking is a myth. So learn to do one thing and do it well. Do one thing at a time. And this is very difficult for a lot of women because we tend to do, several things at a time, and we tend to do very well at it. But if you are experiencing burnout, you may want to reconsider that. Learn to savor and relax. Okay, and engage in some meaningful self-care. When I say meaningful self-care, I mean at the end of that self-care, you should be able to come and say, I feel relaxed, I feel better. If your self-care leaves you feeling very stressed, it's not good self-care. All right, so that's all the tips I have for you today. This is Allison Bonella, your work-life balance specialist, your professional life strategist, and I invite you to dream big, set goals, and take action.